Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Toynami Thundarr the Barbarian Ookla the Mok. The third and final figure from the Thundarr the Barbarian series has joined my toy shelves to complete the heroic trio. So let's take a look at heroic Ookla the Mok. Now, Ookla comes on that Thundarr the Barbarian blister card packaging, complete with some brilliant scenery in the background that looks like it's pulled right out of the Thundarr animated series. The back of that box shows off the 3 figures from the lineup, as well as gives us a little bit of a backstory on Thundarr the Barbarian. Ookla the Mok is in the 6-inch figure scale just like the other characters in the lineup, but you can see him standing next to Thundarr here that he is just a little bit taller, and he's definitely a lot bulkier. The paint job on the figure seems pretty basic, with just a simple shades of browns on there, but looking closely at him you can see that there is a bit of a light wash across the skin that brings out some of the details of the musculature. The head is the coolest part of the figure because the black lines and everything on there just really gives them that cool animated appearance. Now, as far as articulation goes, the figure is pretty good. Unfortunately, the head does not turn at all. With the long sculpted mane coming down in the front and the back, the figure's head is completely static. However, his shoulders are ball jointed, allowing for a full range of motion. He has a twist at the bicep, single joint at the elbow, a twist at the wrist, as well as an additional joint allowing for the wrist to move up and down. He has a swivel at the waist, which you can see is kind of loose on my particular figure. Then he has hinge joints at the thighs there, allowing for motion forward, backward, and outwards, single joints at the knees, a twist at the boot cut, and then a single joint at the ankle. So there actually is a pretty wide range of movement, even though the head is non-articulated. Now, one of the cool things going on here with Ookla that the other figures in the line didn't have is interchangeable hands. So Ookla has the ability to have his open clawed hands or his closed fists, so he can do some pummeling of bad guys. You can of course mix and match them to get your most desired look for Ookla. The hands are just on small little joints that you can just pop right out as little balls there, and the pins plug right in very snug and solid. It's easy to pop them off and on, but they do hold very tightly, so you don't have to worry about them being too loose or anything like that. Now, as far as accessories go, Ookla comes with a bow and arrow. Now, one of the unique things about this is that the bow is actually strung with an elastic string. Something that you don't usually see on action figures because I believe these days it is actually a safety hazard. Now, the arrow is removable from the bow. It's just got a small peg and it plugs into a hole on the front, so if you want to take the arrow off, you can, and you can pose Ookla without it, or you can attach it to the bow there, and that elastic string actually will go across the back of the arrow so it looks like the arrow is drawn and ready to fire. Now, there's a small pinhole in Ookla's left open hand, and there is a peg on the back side of the bow, so that way you can plug it into his hand, and it fits nice and firm with no looseness at all, and that way it looks like he's holding onto the bow, and then his other hand is actually shaped to look like it's pulling the arrow back. So if you get that elastic string wrapped around the back of that arrow, position it correctly in his hands, you really can get a nice look with Ookla as if he's about to fire his arrow. It would work a little bit better if you can get his head to turn just slightly to the left to make it look like he's looking a bit more where he's aiming, but nonetheless, this does still look pretty cool and make for some awesome poses of the figure. So there you go, guys. There is a look at the final figure from the 2003 Thundarr the Barbarian series from Toynami. I think this entire series is a really great series of action figures. I only wish that Toynami would have made more than just the main 3 heroes, because that cartoon series had some really cool looking villains, and it would have been nice to round out the figures with some really cool baddies for them to fight. But nonetheless, I'm very happy that we got the 3 figures we did, and I'm very happy that I finally have all 3 of them in my personal collection. Now, Ookla the Mok and Thundarr and Princess Ariel are all kind of obscure these days, so they're not exactly the easiest to find. But if you can locate them for a good price, I would highly recommend picking these up and checking them out. Until next time.